Alright, take two. This is Project SAS. I'm Cameron Edmonds. And the problem we're looking to address with this project, faced by many outdoor enthusiasts today, is that you actually have to rely on either other people to give you safety. Cell phone coverage is either going to be spotty or even non-existent in the areas that you probably are going to be going. And that if you do happen to have the money required to purchase expensive personal locator beacons that are already on the market, they're manually activated only. So if you happen to become incapacitated in any way, there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to activate it and get the help that it's trying to give you. And I'm going to pass this over to Curtis, who's going to go over the opportunities.
So the opportunities we have with this problem is that in 2003, the FCC and other federal agencies legalized the sale of the 406 megahertz frequency, which is used for locator beacons. Since 2003, there have been other competitors who have put out these personal locator beacons. However, they're all manually activated, and the lowest cost one starts at about $275 and ranges all the way to $600, anywhere between. So what we're looking to do is we're looking to enter the early growth of this product phase. Everything is still beginning. It's still a very, very young market. And because of the expense of the ones on the market, we have the potential to introduce a low-cost option of the personal locator beacon. Utilizing our team, we have strengths in both hardware and software integration, microchipping. We also have electrical engineering, and then we also have a very diverse network of contacts, including the New Hampshire State Park System, the Forestry and Lands, the Trails Bureau, and then we also have a lot of contacts in the outdoor recreation platforms, various different kind of groups. So what we're hoping to do is we're looking to take advantage of this opportunity to really get more of a one-on-one market analysis by reaching out to these folks and really understanding what the market needs. And then because of this, our system is able to adapt to fit with whatever they need. If they need something differently, if they need a shock absorber type of reaction with our system, we have the flexibility with our product to do that. So I'm going to hand it over to Matt. He's actually going to talk to you a little bit more about the solution that we have.
So our solution to this problem is actually an automatic emergency beacon. So the user will be able to input check-in intervals on the device, and then when these intervals are approaching, the device will begin emitting audio or visual cues, alerting the user that they need to check in. And if the user misses a check-in for any reason, the device will immediately begin sending out a distress beacon. And it will also continue with the cues to let the user know that it is sending out this signal to prevent false alerts. So what this is going to do is it's going to help reduce any potential delay in help arriving that you might see with manual PLBs in a situation where the user is incapacitated or physically unable to activate the beacon themselves. Our device will have manual operation as an option should the user be in a situation where they are physically able and need that immediate response. And we're also trying to make this a much more affordable option than the PLBs that are currently on the market so that more outdoor enthusiasts can afford to have this safety and reassurance that a PLB provides. And now we're going to go back to Cam to talk about resources.
So what we're looking for is about $9,000 in funding, and that will further allow us to research the market, make sure that we're putting in to the design features that are actually looked for. As Curtis had kind of mentioned, there is talk of adding a fall sensor to this, and we'd be tailoring the prototypes, which is included on this number for the funding. We'd be tailoring the prototypes and the designs going forward and getting feedback by putting them out in the field and having people say what they like and don't like. We have also are looking to price lower than what is already out there in the market to help with the market penetration. And that is all we have in our presentation for now. We'd love to entertain any questions that you might have.
Do you have any thoughts on market size?
Market size that we're looking at, initial studies are a little difficult to place without further investigation, which we still want to do even independently of this event. From some studies that we saw that there are about 42 million hikers in 2017 in a survey, and actually there were 47 million folks that were actually involved in fishing activities. That was just two different hobbies. So the market that we're trying to reach is basically any of the outdoor enthusiasts, which range in the millions by those kind of numbers, but further investigation will help us narrow it down, probably starting in the New England area as far as a region of testing. But with that general sense, we're looking to reach into the markets that would like to purchase this kind of sense of safety, but they don't want to pay for that expensive piece that they have to carry around. So this is more of a sense of safety, that they're able to purchase something that's going to save them in the time that they need. It's water resistant, it's shock absorbing. We're going to have that offering for them in that market. So we're going to be furthering our research to really narrow it down by talking to the federal agencies, the state agencies that we have contacts with, and then actually talking to the customers, whether in focus groups or if we're going to be working through the outdoor surveys.
Okay.
And I've also already done some initial outreach to various people like Cub Scouts, Eagle Scouts, and down south, these scout troops are like in the thousands for a single troop. And the people that I have talked to so far about this idea were very enthusiastic and said that this would be a great thing for them to be able to add to their groups, because it allows for a little bit more independence if they do want that. And that's what a lot of these programs are aiming to do, is allow the participants to be able to go out and do leadership. Well, then they would be able to take this with them, and the Scoutmaster would have that reassurance that, well, the beacon hasn't gone off, so they're still safe, even though they're out on their own technically. And, yeah.
So I have a question for you about your hardware. How do you avoid the eventual alert that's going to occur with a lost device?
With the loss of the device?
With a lost device. So you've got it on a chain or whatever around your neck, you're out skiing, aggressive, and you drop it, and it's in the snow somewhere, and you just keep skiing away.
Well, that's one of the things that we haven't investigated yet. With the design that I have, I actually forgot to mention it in the presentation that we also already have a proof of concept that is ready to be built. We would be investigating to see how often that actually happens. One of the features that would be built onto this is a strong clip to be able to clip it into gear so that wouldn't happen.
I think I could give you a suggestion on a solution for it,
Yeah.
but it's an obvious problem that I would anticipate,
Of course.
which is that you find some other type of device, whether it's an RFID or your cell phone or something else with you, that you pair it with.
Of course.
That's an excellent idea. I do like that, kind of a tile concept, an
Right.
offshoot. One of the things I was thinking of, and I did discuss with the team members about eventual future development and problems that would come up, and that was one of them, was a lost device. Unfortunately, even with the PLBs themselves that are on the market now, by purchasing it, you have to agree to the liability of using this device. There are testings that you do once a year with your devices. I think some devices can do up to 4 times a year that are registered tests with the FCC and SARSAT, which is actually the global positioning company that actually responds to these beacons. So under a user agreement of the device that you're using, you do take on a certain responsibility.
I understand that, but you know, the Coast Guard's not going to be happy if you scramble a helicopter or something
No,
anyway.
of course not, no. No, completely
So is
understandable.
this what the
Like
product
safe
will actually
people.
look like? Are these pictures just pictures, or are these legitimate
That's a mock-up or?
This is a artist rendering myself.
of what you believe
being
it's gonna be?
what I've been aimed to have it look like.
Okay.
So
Obvious.
your proof of concept is this,
That, yes.
okay. And you said your BOM is about $75 to $100, your bill of materials for building it?
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously, during the prototyping phase, it's going to be more expensive because it's single unit.
Sure.
And And so you're gonna try to partner with the like Boy Scouts of America or Cub Scouts or one of these other groups, and then obviously then it has a lot more credit. Are these other companies partner with any of those companies, or?
The one that I saw was it EMS, correct? They have the ARC system. That one's a widely used, and then there's the ARC Marine system, which is used more, I think it's in the fisheries, I think is what they use there, so it's just more waterproof and has some sort of a crazy reach. This one is more to be like the Boy Scouts or like the casual hiker who, I guess it's more of that sense of security. You want to make sure that you're going to be found one way or the other.
Is there a yearly licensing fee?
We've actually looked into finding out what the licensing is like and registering the actual frequency of each device.
Yep.
SARFSAT actually requires that all devices that are going to be used as a personal locating beacon be tested by their independent facilities.
Okay.
So once we get the prototype up and running and we believe that it's ready for actual testing, it will be sent to SARFSAT, will be registered under a proper ID name for the actual signal beacon identifier. A little more into it than I know. They know more of the specifics. I'm more of the business marketing side of it, so there's a lot to look into as far as the legalities and registering IDs.
I had not heard of, when researching products that are already out on the market, of any notice that there was a monthly fee or
Okay.
anything like that. There is just the initial registration of the ID, which I believe the company itself making the beacons coordinates with SARSAT to make sure you don't have an overlap in IDs, and that's basically it.
Yeah, I
And
think I
having
left
been
something
through the
on there.
certification process before, just know that it can run into the tens of thousands of dollars.
Okay.
Yes, no, it's not cheap. I'm actually going through commercial drone
Is it
certification
fun?
right now. It is very fun.
So, yeah.
There's
So,
a lot involved.
There's a ton involved.
And so what's all you're really trying to, and just correct me if I'm wrong, but you're trying to undercut the market that's already out there. Like, do you have anything proprietary within your device that nobody else has or has the capability of having?
The automated system is what it makes us unique, that and our price point, obviously, that we're trying to achieve. Right now, all the PLBs are manually activated. Being an automatic or automated check-in system, like Matt was describing earlier, once you approach a check-in time that you designate under responsibility of the product usage and all that sort of thing, if I get to the peak or if I'm supposed to be down to the base by 6 p.m. and I don't reach that time frame, or as I reach that time frame, audibly and visually it will remind me, don't forget to check in, don't forget to check in. If you miss the check-in, it will continue to beep and flash, and then after a designated time frame, which we'll further research and decide what we want to do on that, it will activate the beacon. But remainder of the beeping and the flashing will continue in case there are nearby folks who can assist you or search and rescue. Depending on the battery life, that's further development that we have to research into. But once that beacon is activated, a signal has been sent to SARSAT. So even if the battery life does diminish, the signal has been generated and you'll be located.
What prevents a company like Garmin from coming in and undercutting you even
Yeah.
more because they're, huge company and this is kind of a no-brainer for them?
It is a possibility. Trying to think of how best to word a response to that. We had been thinking about possibly, if the idea became successful and we were approached by an independent company, our main concern, our main passion is making sure that individuals enjoying the outdoor activities are getting the safety they need. As far as the profitability, if Garmin likes our idea, for instance, or if it's EMS in their ARC system and they want to incorporate our kind of technology, obviously that becomes more of a business-to-business kind of transaction, and we need to look at legalities and patents and rights and that sort of thing.
Right, so to that point, a couple of things. I guess, one, certainly to preserve any market you establish for yourself, you need to look at doing your IP up front.
Correct.
All right, you would need to do your patenting and such very early on. But beyond that, you also need to know that in this market, you've got freedom to operate. Because you do not want to, in your infancy, get a cease and desist letter, well, better in your infancy, but get a cease and desist letter from Garmin.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still part of our initial marketing. And researching into the legalities of these different things and the registration. Unfortunately, it does require a lot more time and dedication, which we are ready to do. That's the next step.
You can do your research on that pretty easily at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office website and get a rough idea of what's out there. The patents you read are going to be probably pretty specific, and there are just going to be some interpretive matters for you. You need to talk to the patent counsel.
Okay, that'll be excellent to look at. I'm glad you mentioned that. Thank you.
I think there's a lot of opportunity there for you as well, especially on the kid market side. I run an outdoor company. So,
Oh, excellent.
but the kid market price point is really a challenge, so it's a great opportunity there. Cub Scouts and whatnot.
We did see that as a possible venture, and that's why we want to do the market research, because we might find that maybe our market is not the adult individual solo, but maybe it's the mothers that need a peace of mind. There are SMS type locator beacons out there, but possibly with this it might be easier, especially if we can reach a lower price point for.
Just make sure it's really ruggedized and you're not going to lose it.
Oh yes, that's part of our actual pricing and the resources,
Mhm.
is to make sure we have the quality materials selected to withstand that.
And what we could do is, with what you had suggested, is there are Bluetooth pairings that you can do, and that's got like a 50-foot range, and those are already low power with the new redesign, well, the last redesign that they had done, so it won't affect battery as much. And to even reduce that on the technical battery usage is we can reduce the pings that it sends.
You
And
only
just
need
be
to
like,
ping every so many
okay,
minutes.
it's about time to check in. Let's ping to make sure we're close to the guy first.
Mhm.
Or
Now, frankly, if your device is set to alarm, I think you need to have, you need to have a pairing or something to.
Before
which
you
is-
send out the team.
No, that's a fantastic idea. I'm glad you brought that up for us. We'll definitely be looking into that further for this.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time for questions.
Alright.
Thank you
Not
so
a problem.
much,
Wish you
gentlemen.
guys good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Catch
thank
up
you
with me,
very much
I'd
for your
like to
time.
ask you more about it.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Yeah, definitely. We will be available.
Thank you.